What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all, get notified straight away as soon as any new content drops on the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, over the weekend, we had the Zone card, BT card, we had the card in America as well with us. So, this one's about the headline act of the Zone card, Conor Benn versus Chris Van Heerden of South Africa. Chris Van Heerden, I think the most recent action I heard of him, got beaten on cuts, I think it was by Jerron Boots Ennis. He done an impressive job on him. So this guy meant to be, somewhat of a step up for Conor Benn. He's a pretty durable guy, pretty tough guy. He hadn't seen action in a fairly long time. I was expecting sort of a stoppage from Conor Benn, and he done a job on this guy as expected. There were a lot of people prior to this fight that were quite disappointed. He should be fighting better opposition, blah blah blah. But I can somewhat understand what Matchroom are doing with him, because they know that they've got a talent on their hands. They know that he's got limitations, so they're being very careful. They don't want to give him a loss on his record, sort of thing. So they're kind of protective of him, and of course he doesn't have the amateur pedigree, but he done exceptionally well in this fight. I will say that. It only lasted 1.5 rounds, basically. It ended in the second, but from the word go, Conor Benn jumps on Chris Van Heerden. He was making mistakes. He was open with his shots in the first round. He was wide open with some of these shots, and some of this stuff, his work that he does, is quite crude, and it's a bit untidy. It's a bit wide. Some of these punches he throws, but at this sort of level, he can kind of get away with it. And as some pointed out, he gets away with it in part because of the level that he's boxing at. That's number one. But number two, it's also the pace he kind of fights at, because he's so intense, and he really sort of puts it on guys. He really puts the pressure on, and he's quick with what he does. He's speedy, and everything. The feet are pretty fast, and the hands are quite fast, and everything is intense. So therefore, it can sort of, even when you sort of miss with a shot or you swing with a shot, because he's doing it so fast, the guy's just going to be thinking about defense, which is the same with Van Heerden. He was all right in round one. Van Heerden had a respectable little time, but you could see even from then that, okay, he might do a couple of rounds with Conor Benn, but clearly one man is going to be the winner here. So the first round was okay. Ben just come out, sprinted out the blocks, putting it on Van Heerden, missing a little bit wild, a little bit crude and whatnot. But to his credit, Conor Benn, when it came to the second round, he sort of calmed down a little bit, still had the intensity, but he was a little bit more careful with his shots, a little bit more measured with his shot selection and everything. So he started to tidy up his work a little bit more, still putting the pressure on Chris Van Heerden, and then just as was expected, lays him out. Lovely shot, lays him out with the right, and Van Heerden goes on the floor. No way he was gonna make it up. I mean, some said, oh, maybe he could have got up or whatever, which is possible. Maybe he could have got up, but it's one of those where even if he did get up, he'd be going straight back down to the canvas again. He'd be kissing the floor again, hitting that canvas again. So, irrespective of whether he could or couldn't have got up, he would have gone straight back down, gone to sleep for a long time, I reckon. So yeah, it was a good, impressive performance by Conor Benn. It's one of those things though where I am impressed. I'll say I enjoy his fights. He's very exciting, but I want to see a bit of a step up now. Um, because I think they've kind of, with his career, they've kind of managed him well, but they've skipped a bit of levels really with him. They haven't really gone the traditional route, area English English, British, European, then trying to go for world. They've kind of skipped all the British and somewhat skipped the European route as well. They've not gone that way with him. They've decided to just hang around, sort of be a few Brits, and now they're around the sort of fringe world level, not quite the top of the cream of the crop, but he's somewhere there or thereabouts now. And they've been strategic, they've been very clever with his career, but I'd like to see the fight that everyone keeps going on about, which is Avanesian. I'd like to see him versus David Avanesian. I think that would be an interesting fight. They say, I think Hearn and some of these others say, oh, well, he's not a ticket seller, Avanesian. He's not a ticket seller. But again, as Chris Andre said in his video, that, look, you say Avanesian's not a ticket seller, but nor is Van Heerden. You had him fighting Van Heerden. He don't sell tickets. He's not a big name. Whereas you box Avanesian, he's more of a name, known amongst the boxing, amongst the public. He's a puncher, good fighter, dangerous fighter, and I think that would be a good logical step for Conor Benn, because at the end of the day, he skipped certain levels in boxing. He skipped the British, he skipped all those steps that you would traditionally take as a as a boxer from over here in England, and he skipped, and now he's just hanging around just below world class, which in his division he's in is very dangerous, because I'm sure they wouldn't put him in there with Jaron Boots Ennis. I don't think Virgil Ortiz can make the weight anymore, from what I understand, but they wouldn't stick him in with Ortiz, not with Ennis. They wouldn't stick him in with, he's not going in there with Spence or Crawford, he's not going in there with Ugas, so he's not going in there with the cream of the crop. It's a tough division. I'd say the Avanesian fight makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, yeah, you can say high risk, low reward, but at the end of the day, I think it would be a great learning experience for Conor Benn, and it will show us, it will be like an acid test that will show us whether or not this guy is the real deal. Because the level of Chris Van Heerden, okay, if you're good, you're going to beat him, and you're going to beat him well, you're going to take him out. We know that much, but we want to see him in there with a younger, fresher guy who's got, his career more ahead of him than behind him, like this guy here. So, yeah, for me, I'd like to see him in there, get him in there with an Avanesian next. I wouldn't even mind seeing him in there with Florian Marku, which in a sense would be kind of a step back for where Conor Benn's going, but it's one of them where it would have the needle. Marku's a puncher. I think Benn would definitely beat Florian Marku. I don't see Florian Marku beating Conor Benn, but as he's a puncher, he'd give it a go. He'd give it a good go, but I think Benn is a bit more skilled, a bit more polished in his work, and I think he'd beat him. But I think that would be a good, exciting fight, a good little test for Conor Benn, or the Avanesian fight, someone like that. Even the Broner, name of Broner, if he can get himself in shape or whatever, I think that's a good test for Conor Benn. I think the Amir Khan thing in the ring, that's a joke business. No way can Amir Khan handle Conor Benn, that's a joke. But yeah, I reckon Avanesian, Broner, I think Danny Garcia, if they could get him the money he wants, Mikey Garcia would be a great test for Conor Benn as well. All those sort of guys. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of Conor Benn's performance, and who do you think he should be fighting next? And until next time, this is MKO Pugilism, over and out.